Chapter 1 The Frostbitten Gift. It was a Christmas Eve unlike any other when Thomas Caldwell found himself stranded in a small, forgotten village deep within the snow-covered mountains. The storm had arrived swiftly, its icy breath sweeping over the roads, transforming them into impassable, treacherous treks. Thomas had been on his way home after a long business trip, looking forward to the comfort of his warm home and the joyful festivities of the holiday season. But now, with snow piling up on his windshield and the roads blocked by drifts too high for his car to navigate, he was stuck. The wind outside howled like an angry spirit, shaking the trees and making the world feel as if it were collapsing in on itself. He had tried calling for help, but his phone had long since died in the frozen air. There was nothing left to do but wait. But Thomas's patience was thinning. He needed shelter, something to block the cruel, biting cold that was seeping into his bones. And then, just when he thought he couldn't endure the storm any longer, the village appeared. It wasn't so much a village, Thomas realized as he squinted into the snow, as it was a forgotten fragment of time, a place that didn't belong in the present day. There were crumbling houses, their outlines barely visible in the thick snow, some leaning in unnatural angles, others with broken windows that stared out like vacant eyes. From the chimney of one house, a thin wisp of smoke curled up into the sky. In the distance, a single flickering light, yellow and dim, glowed from what looked like a tavern. Desperate for warmth, Thomas stumbled toward it. His boots crunched through the deep snow, his legs weary, his breath coming in sharp, frozen bursts. The tavern was a small building made of weathered wood and stone, its sign hanging crookedly, barely legible under the weight of the snow that had accumulated over the years. When Thomas reached the door and pushed it open, the warmth that rushed to greet him was almost unbearable after the cold he'd just endured. The tavern was dimly lit, its floorboards creaking underfoot as he stepped inside. A low fire crackled in the hearth, sending flickering shadows across the room. At the bar sat several men, their faces as pale as death, their eyes dark and sunken as though they had not seen the light of day for years. Their voices ceased the moment Thomas entered, their heads turning toward him in unison as if they were expecting him. At the far end of the room, a woman stood behind the counter, her face as cold and uninviting as the storm outside. Her dark eyes locked onto his, sharp and unreadable. "Lost your way?" she asked, her voice carrying a strange chill, even though the fire and the hearth warmed the air around them. Thomas nodded, shaking off the snow from his